Hello designers, my name is Karthik from Design School for WordPress Beginners, and in this video I want to show you how you can custom position your elements in any Elementor template, post, page or any custom post type. So no matter which template you're editing, you sometimes want to position your element at a custom location rather than the standard locations that Elementor allows you to. So you can see my Apple Watch is at a custom position and the Mac is also away from the custom position, and also this iPhone. These are all images, and you can see that they're sitting right within this column, but they're positioned away from this column. That's usually not possible with Elementor. Of course, you can do some negative margin and stuff like that, but I'll show you two easy methods in which you can adjust the position of any element. And this is not just for any images or text, it's for any element, meaning any section, column or widget. So let me show it to you in this video. Open any post, page or template by clicking on edit with Elementor, and you get your usual Elementor workflow screen. And I'm going to show you using the pro version of Elementor first, and then I'll show you how to do it with the free version of Elementor. It's quite simple, but I'll show you. But first, let me show you the pro version. So I want to position this Mac image maybe somewhere around here. So the first method is by using a CSS property called position. So it's quite simple, and remember I'm showing you the pro version. So click on advanced and go to custom CSS field and type selector. Don't worry, the code will be available to you in the description. So I just clicked on this image. Under advanced, under custom CSS, I typed on selector, and the first thing that you need to type is position. You don't have to type the whole word. You can type couple of letters and it'll populate the whole word. You can press on enter and it'll autofill the word for you. So this position, the property should be relative. So what this means is that telling your browser, so whichever it may be, it can be Chrome, Mozilla or any other browser, saying that, hey, don't position my element here. I'm specifying some rules where it should appear. So please take the element and put it based on the values that I give here. So you can simply say top. So when you say top and give it a value, so it will add this space to the top of the element, meaning it will displace the element in the opposite direction. So when you add 100 pixels onto the top, it means displace this from the top by 129 pixels. And when you say left, the same thing applies. So it's plain English, and you just need to type any value. So it just says that move this element by adding some 20 pixels onto the left. That means it will be moved to the right. So whichever value you add here, whichever property, it will be moved in the opposite direction. And that's when you add a positive value. And when you add a negative value, it means do the opposite of this property, meaning it's the same as bottom 129 pixels. So when you say top 129 pixels with a negative value, it will display here. And let me do the same thing with bottom. Let me remove this minus, and it's exactly the same thing as top minus 129 pixels. So don't have to worry about negative values. You can say top, left, bottom and right. So it will display based on the values you give here. So just position relative, and then give any values that you want. So you can maybe say, so I'll just add few more. So 209 pixels. And if this element is not visible for some reason, go to advanced and give it a z-index of a higher positive number. That may be because this column or section may be having a higher z-index number. So if we give 100, this will be visible and it will overlap with the design just like this one. This was its original position and now we displaced it here. Now let's do the same thing with the Apple Watch. I just want to move it here around this position. So I'll go to advanced again, click on custom CSS, selector. Don't have to type. I'll leave the code for everything in the description. Just adjust the values. So again, position, property, relative is the value, and just specify your So this time I'll say bottom, meaning it will move to the top. So I'll just say 40 pixels, meaning it will add a space of 40 pixels onto the bottom. That means it will be moved onto the top. So 40 pixels, if you say 400, you can see that this actually leaves this whole column and enters other column. That's usually not possible with Elementor, but it's possible with CSS. So let me give a normal value. So maybe 120 pixels, I think. Let's make it 160. Yeah, just the way I want it to be. Okay, now let's displace this icon. I'll click on this one, go to advanced, custom. Again, you know the drill, selector, position, and again relative, top 100 pixels. It will move to the bottom. So let me give a negative top, so it will move to the topmost direction. Or as you can see, it's having a lower z index, so it's buried inside this column. Let me click on this. Let me go to advanced and click on a, give it a z index of 100. As you can see, it floats on top of this bottom section. So that may happen. So you can custom position. You can see my Apple Watch is here, my iPhone is here, and my Mac image is here. And this is not just for any image or any particular widget. You can apply these properties to anything. It can be text, it can be images, it can be videos. So basically any widget. Even better, you can apply this to any section, column. So let me show it to you. Let me clear the custom CSS for this one, or maybe I'll just cut it so that we'll use it for our future applications. Let me remove the custom CSS from this one and watch what happens when I remove the custom CSS. All the elements return to their original positions. So these are the original positions of the images, and we just displaced by writing couple of words. That's really powerful. You should know how to do this. Okay, now let's displace this whole section. Let's move this whole section close to this one without adding any white space. So let me click on this, and yeah, you can give a negative margin, that's fine, but I'm talking about precise movement. So let's go with the CSS way. Selector. Okay, I just have the code. So, and you can see when I say top minus 209 pixels, it will move in the opposite direction. When I said top 209, it will move to the bottom direction, but I said minus 209. Let me remove this minus for you. And when I said that, it just moved this column to the bottom of this. So it gets overlapped with the section below. When I say minus, it moves on top of this one. And of course, based on the z index, the elements will be stacked. So if you want this column to appear above this one, give it a higher z index. Let's do that, and you can see that. So just by giving any random number, you can just do trial and error method and give any z index that will make this particular section appear above this images section. That's all trial and error, and you can give any value to this, and based on whichever number is higher, it will appear on the top. That's what z index means. It's just like stacking cards on top of one another. So we just move this whole section. Okay, I think it's really tough for us to, let me click on Command Z. So we can simply move the whole section just the way we did with individual elements. So let me clear the custom CSS for this one, and the section returns to its normal position. Also, let me reposition this column. As I said, you can put this column anywhere, and this applies to any element. So let me click on custom CSS and let me paste the code, and let me tweak this a bit. So I'll say write 20 pixels or maybe 120 pixels, so that that will bring this column near to this one, and I'll say bottom 80 pixels, and just like that it brought this near to this based on the right property, and it took it above this based on the bottom value. So you can simply give two values. It can be top and right, left or right, and bottom and any other opposite direction. Don't give two opposite directions. So you can't give top and bottom. You can give bottom right, top left, top right, bottom left, anything. Just make sure it's pretty much common sense, right? You don't want to move it onto the top and onto the bottom with the same value or different values, right? You can simply say top or right, top or bottom, or left or right. So it's pretty much common sense. So this is the first method. Simply by typing this position and simply by giving two values. So it can be any of the two values. So it can be top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So it can be any of the values, and it can even be a single value. So you don't have to write like type two values. You can also type single value. Based on your preference, you can give anything, and based on what you give, it will displace this element from its usual position. Well, that's what you are trying to achieve in this tutorial. So we just displaced the whole section, column, and of course images or any other widgets. So let's see the method 2, or the other way in which we can do this. And you can achieve the same results with any section, column, widget such as images, text, or anything using another CSS property called CSS Transform. Well, I've already taught this in the rotate, scale, and transform tutorial, but I just want to highlight that this is the second alternative to the position method in order to achieve that custom position. So the code for this is a bit bigger. Don't worry, it's not different code. It's just the same code for different browsers. As transforms are something similar to animations, different browsers have their own prefixes. So we're basically adding this O transform stands for Opera browsers, and WebKit stands for Safari browsers, and Moz stands for Mozilla browser, MS stands for Microsoft, and this is the standard transform, which is the standard. But you know what? Everyone has got their own standards. So it's all the same code. You can get the same code from the description. So don't worry about that. So I'll just show you the standard one, which will work most of the time, but you do have to add all these prefixes. So let's keep that in mind. So it's basically transform. So you're telling the browser to transform a property of it. Translate, which means move the particular element, and it takes two values, one along horizontal direction, another along vertical direction. It's similar to position property, but it's all controlled by this kind of function. So whatever values you give, it moves the element. So horizontal meaning onto the right, and vertical meaning onto the bottom. And you can give negative values to move them in the opposite direction, just like that. And you can tweak these values. So if you give 50 pixels, it will be moved onto the right, and if you give minus 50 pixels, it will be moved onto the left. And again, these properties can be applied to any section, column, widget. Okay, so that's how you transform any element. It can be a section, column, or widget. So that's how you put them in a custom position using the pro version of Elementor. What about the free version? Well, there are two additional steps. The first step is to add a HTML widget. So just search for HTML. You don't even need to add a section. Just search for HTML. There's a highly powerful widget called HTML. Just drag it wherever you want. Don't worry, this won't actually change the layout. It will actually add the code responsible for the CSS. So I clicked on this. I go to Custom CSS, and again I cut this code, and it returns to its normal position. And this applies to the position code as well. So whatever code that I share for pro users, just copy that code and head over to this HTML widget that you just dragged, And first add style tag. So this is less than style tag, greater than symbol. It's kind of like inverted V. So style tag, and between the style tag you need to paste the code, and nothing happens. That's because selector is not allowed for free version of Elementor. So you just want to move this particular icon box widget, right? So click on that icon box widget, click on advanced, and give it any unique name. It can be even your dog's name. I keep on saying that, that's because people love their pets. Anyway, so click on this, give it a unique name under CSS classes under advanced. So I just named it custom move 143. Let's copy this class name. So a quick recap, whatever code I shared for pro users, I just drag the HTML widget first, add the style tags and paste the code in here, and then I give whatever element that I want to apply this code to a custom name. So it can be a custom move, it can be just move, it can be any name. So give it a name, and then replace the selector with dot followed by the name that you just gave. So that will basically apply the code to the element that you name with this. So whichever code you have, so simply copy the code in between these style tags. It's less than style tag, greater than, and again just copy the code, give that particular element that you want to apply this code to a unique name. So you can do that under advanced, and once you name it, just replace selector with dot followed by the name that you just gave. So, and that's how you make the code work on the free version of Elementor. So that's it for now. Hope you guys liked it, and I made this tutorial because this is actually really important for the upcoming tutorial. Stay tuned for that. I'll be back soon. And that's it for now, and hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure to give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to ask. I'm ready to help you. Catch you in the next video. Peace.